How are you? And welcome to another one of my shaky review. You know, I watch the internet and YouTube videos, but there are two words that seem to jump out at me from time to time. The bad boy versus the nice guy. Now, the old question, why do women prefer the bad boy? Well, here's my take on it. First of all, he is reactive. He is emotional. He is a short-term thinker. And in some ways, these traits in the bad boy remind me of Captain Kirk. Now let us move over to the nice guy. He's proactive. He thinks logically. His thinking is more long-term. He is like Mr. Spock. So, who actually is more powerful? I'm here to tell you that Mr. Spock has the real power. In fact, he can squash like Captain Kirk in a blink of an eye. Now, for those of you who have watched Star Trek, you know Vulcans are 10 times stronger than humans. And Vulcans are more logical than humans. And Vulcans are less emotional than humans. Now, women are more likely to be reactive instead of proactive. They tend to be more emotional than logical. They tend to be short-term thinkers and gainers than long-term thinkers and gainers. Now let's go down to Kirk again. Captain Kirk is the ladies' man. Spock is not. Now, the answer to your question is, why do women prefer bad boys over the nice guys? Well, I'm here to tell you it is a matter of timing. You see, bro, you got to realize one thing. If you're asking yourself the question, and you're a nice guy and a good guy, well, why is it that I am not that successful with women? Well, it is because that the majority of women that go after the bad boy share the similar qualities and traits of the bad boy. Meaning that they are looking for a short-term, emotional, reactive fling. It is a short-term fetish. Ultimately, once they go through all this emotional, short-term trauma, they start to look for the nice guy who's proactive, who's logical, who has long-term thinking and goals and aspirations. And yes, they start to realize the true value of Mr. Spock. Now, so again, who is the real power? Who has the real power? And I'm going to tell you, it is this guy. So nice guys, let me ask you a question. if you are a nice guy and you have your priorities straight and you know what you want, why on earth would you settle for a female who is a short-term thinker and is looking for a short-term emotional high? And it is about timing. Yes. Now, at what stage do you meet a female? Usually when she's in her teens and 20s, she tends to gravitate to these things here. But when she gets a little older and wiser, and she goes through a lot of use and abuse, she always comes back to the nice guy with these qualities. But guess what? By the time the female realizes that these qualities here are counterproductive to her survival and to her status, her value goes down, while this guy's value goes up. So in short, don't try to be like this guy in order to attract the wrong kind of female. You see, bro, I'm going to tell you a story from experience, alright? Now, when I was in my 20s, I had a crush on this girl. But apparently she didn't have a crush on me because she thought that I was too passive and too boring. So she gravitated towards the bad boy that possessed these qualities. Well, years went by, and after she started to come down to earth again and look in the mirror and question her choices and her actions, I met up with her, and she tried to be really, really sweet and nice and attentive and caring. But guess what? I moved on. And I didn't want to have anything to do with her again. So, nice guys, you may hear the saying that you finish last. Well, in some ways it's true. But guess what? At least you finish. And you finish off on a good note. What I'm trying to tell you is, don't waste your time with women who pursue bad boys in the short term. Because if you do, she's going to come in your life and she is going to cause you nothing but pain, loss, and grief. See, you got to realize something, man. Most women are held hostage to their emotion. And inevitably, your emotions in the short term lie. They do lie. Where logical, long-term is the truth. It's just like the saying, girls will date Batman, but will ultimately marry Superman. Now let's talk about that. Not to go off topic, but I just want to ask every individual out there who has ever read a comic book or a story, Superman can destroy Batman if he really, really wanted to. But he doesn't want to, because deep down inside, he's a nice guy. Now, let's move into the real world. The nice guy, if he really wanted to, can destroy this guy also in a blink of an eye. Why is that? Because he has the characteristics and the attributes in the first place that this guy lacks. So the answer to your question is, why do women like bad boys? Well, I'm here to tell you one thing. It is a short-term fetish. So don't rack your brains, nice guys, and think there's something wrong with you. In fact, it's the opposite. It's the women who pursue and like the short-term bad boy fling. They've got the trouble. They've got the problems. Like I said, sooner or later, when she realizes that she's been living a lie, she's going to want some truth in her life, which is right here. And by the time she's a little older and wiser, and she's used and she's abused, the nice guy has figured out her game, and she is nothing but damaged goods. And that is why the majority of women these days, well, not the majority, but a good number of them, are single mothers, and their social and financial status is really, well, not that much. So you, as a nice guy, let me ask you this. Would you trade the truth for a lie? I know I wouldn't. I'll see you later.